All right, this is take one. Me just sitting here debating on whether I do this video or not. What I'm about to present is going to trigger a lot of people. I know this. It's like I'm taking myself to my own hanging. But yet I'm forced to do this video. It's like I wanted to digest my thoughts before I came out to the world and put my thoughts out there. But I keep having something pull me towards making this video because I know how important it is and I'm not speaking up. So this is me speaking up, and this is going to be really hard. Pretty much say bye to me, because a lot of you will be like, I'm done with you, but it is what it is. I guess this is it. Let's do this. Take two. I needed my comforting pillows. I'm doing this very in a intimate environment because I'm getting intimate with some deep stuff, and I need all the comfort I can get. So with that being said, let's really get started, okay? I'm gonna talk about my thoughts on Super Bowls in general and the halftime show. A lot has been going on about that. Some of you haven't known me for a really long time. I have to share some of my past to better understand my present and where all my comments come from. So for some of you, this will be a touchy subject, very touchy. And then for others, even touchier. So this is your moment right now where if you rather not hear this, your time to leave would be right now. It's the red pill, blue pill, okay? If you catch my drift. So there seems to be so many triggers in Sunday's Super Bowl show. I wanted to point out some of the things that I heard or saw, and then the comments to that. So first, let me just say that I'm all about seeing both sides of a coin, both sides of the situation. It's my Gemini moon. I always have to see both sides of it. So I want to better understand it, right? So I used to watch TV, the news, and like most of society, the Super Bowl. I went to Super Bowl parties, got excited about it, until I started to phase out of that. And it was like 2012 to 2013. So I was going through a huge shift in my life, and I had enough drama of my own that TV became less important. And with time, my entire lifestyle completely changed. So I went from, and this is a mixture of everything. I went from eating meat to now vegetarian and leaning towards vegan if I could just not do cheese pizza. But that's for later's challenge. I have many challenges ahead of me. I take one step at a time. So I went from being raised Catholic to having Pentecostal in-laws, being confused as I don't know what when my life was falling apart, to then trying to find truth in everything. I mean, I kind of grew up that way, always asking questions, but it really got to the point where things were bad before I really started asking, what is the truth in everything? I think when we go through really dark times, that's when we try to understand God, understand everything. And I went through listening to Joyce Meyer every day, to what's the guy's name with the big house and all the money? What's his name? Joel Osteen. Anyway, from religion to spirituality, which then led me to metaphysics and understanding beyond the physical, and then becoming a metaphysical minister, to now I'm in the process of getting my PhD in philosophy, and still constantly every day looking out for the truth in things, right? So along my journey, this is my own perspective on things. This is along what I have gathered in my own perspective from what I know, right? So I just had to give you a background of me so that you better understand, you can better understand my comments later. Here we go. Let's see. Things that I've heard or seen in just the past couple of days about the show. And this is me not trying to find this. This is just what pops up in my feed and things like that. So the first one that I saw was, why does it have to be a Latin theme? Like, what's wrong with that, right? That was one of them. Oh yeah, and by the way, in case you didn't know, I'm Colombian, so this is why I was kind of urged to do this, but then it started getting really deep. So we're gonna go into all that. So I heard people getting offended over what Shakira and J-Lo were wearing. People trying to find their meals and workout plans. I thought that was cool. And I'm gonna get into what I really think in a minute. How inappropriate their dancing was. There's a lot of religion coming into this. Why is Cuba's flag up there? I heard alien and demonic possession. I heard women empowerment. Look at them at age 43 and at 50. Hashtag goals. And then children in cages while born in the USA was on. I heard or saw Masonic symbolism, Pizzagate stuff, pedophilia, commercials on fake news, flat earth, and the I ain't deleting commercial where they're trying to delete presidential files, right? I think it was the Alexa commercial. Between all this, I have a lot to say. Here they are. They're my own comments, okay? Don't take this as literal truth. It's just based on my perception. So why does it have to be a Latin theme? What's wrong with a Latin theme? I think that Latin people are everywhere, and I think that especially J-Lo and Shakira, they have been in the industry for a really long time and have made it far from the Latin community to where they are now. And so to them, it's a big, huge success, right? There's nothing wrong with Latins. There's lots of Latins in the US. Here's another one. What about the kids that are watching this and how inappropriate it is? Well, unfortunately, the truth is hard to look at, but we need to understand what it is that we're looking at so that we can explain it to them, because just as we're getting fooled, so are they. So we don't have to look at it as just that one event. Look at all the things that happen on a daily. The kids that are listening to TikTok and looking at the songs and the lyrics, all of that, right? That's something that should be looked at because it affects them on a daily. And yet a lot of people are still in controversy about this one show, right? Instead of looking at what happens within your own house and your own insecurities about, where that could lead. And see, that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning layer. It goes deeper and deeper and deeper so that you can see more clearly what this is really about, because it goes further than that. It's not just the Super Bowl. There's a whole system of this, which I'll get into it. So what's the next one? All right, so let's touch base on what they were wearing and the insecurities that brought upon with people. People are looking at, and certain people are looking at these things as inappropriate. And I see how it's inappropriate, but at the same time, I would say to use that insecurity to push you and motivate you to work on yourself. Because you shouldn't be ashamed of your body. I know there's deeper feelings about that, which I'll cover. But on the surface level, they have nice bodies. People usually want to shame people with nice bodies because they're insecure, rather than looking at that as something that can make them feel empowered, because there was a lot of things that did come up about people feeling empowered and people feeling, wow, if this is them at the age of 43 and 50, I want to do that. And that's been one of my things, is that I grew up watching these people and I was inspired by the fact that every year J-Lo just kept looking great. She never really went backwards, as she got older. And I was like, well, if she can do that, I can do that, right? So I've been better this year than I was last year. And my goal is to be better every year than the last. So if anything, it does empower people to see their bodies, but I can see how at the same time a lot of people get offended. I say, just if it triggers you, it's an insecurity that you have that you need to work on. But also you can be aware that there's more to it, that maybe they were supposed to wear these things, or maybe they were guided to wear these things, or maybe whether they knew or didn't know about these things, there's a bigger theme behind it. There's a bigger puppet master, if you want to call it. There's more to it that meets the eye. So maybe it's to make you aware that you need to dig deeper and see that there's something to this, and that maybe they're supposed to wear this, and maybe they're supposed to show the entire world who is watching. Maybe all of this is subliminal messages, right? A lot of people will say no, that that's not the case, but I think that looking at pictures and videos of what they're wearing and why you would think that people would say these things, it makes sense. It makes sense when you start digging deeper and deeper and doing your research and realizing that there is something to this. My question is, why does it have to be exposed like that? Well, in a way, I mean, I know that not speaking up means you are consenting to it. But a lot of people are not speaking up because a lot of people are unaware of what's happening. So my thing is, I want to make you aware of the different layers to this, Yes, there's the talk about how inappropriate it is. I get it. But it's been inappropriate every single year. It's been inappropriate forever and ever, because it's Rome and the circus. It keeps people distracted, and there's a reason for it, What happened all the other years where there was a malfunction in costume, where I think people just got attached to how sensual and sexual it is. And of course they use the most sensual and sexual people out there, and Latin people are usually known for that, the culture of the way they dance, the way we dance. I'm trying to not be biased here. So there's a lot to look into. There's a culture that you're not used to, but hey, like, I'm Colombian, but I was born in the United States. I am Latin American. There's a lot of us here like that, and we have that culture in us. And so we're part of the US, right? Here's another thing. When they said that it was the Cuban flag, like, why is there a Cuban flag? No, first of all, it was Puerto Rican. Let's get it straight. We have the flag of J-Lo and all the Puerto Ricans and all the stuff that they've been going through lately with all the disasters. So J-Lo's representing for Puerto Rico. You have Bad Bunny. That's a moment of I'm standing for my culture type, right? So at the same time, you have the children in the cages while Born in the USA is on, and that can be symbolic in many ways. A lot of us are children enslaved and we don't know it. And then you also can look at it with the political aspect of it, where there are kids basically in cages because of this whole back and forth of countries and separation, the whole divide and conquer, right? So you have a lot of symbolism in there, and some people are aware of it, some people are not. And this is just to make people aware of everything that I heard in and saw in my circle of what I see on a daily. What about Miley Cyrus's stage performance and pretty much every single artist like Katy Perry and Lady Gaga, etc., that have been on stage? What about them?
It's very trappy, but it's, how about, let's say it's very spooky. I'm casting a spell on the audience and all of you viewers at home.
Everything you do is fantastic. They are going crazy to see your...
It's a good thing that people are starting to look at their meal plans and their workouts. It inspires them, and if people want to look good in their 40s and 50s, I mean, hashtag fit at 40, you feel me? Why not? More empowerment to you. It's your perspective. It's however you want to take it. Whatever you want to focus on. Well, let's get this straight. J-Lo, Bad Bunny, Puerto Rican. J Balvin from Medellin, Colombia. Shout out. Shakira is from Barranquilla, Colombia, and she's Lebanese. So now that we know who's who, let's move on to the next one. Okay. The alien and demonic possession. So I've seen that going on around everywhere, talking about there's more to this, but it gets ugly, guys. It's about how there's like a fake future alien invasion. This gets deep, and this has been brought on by conditioning us since birth and for centuries. Conditioning us about what's to come as a way to basically create a fake savior. And they want everybody to have a new world order, new one world religion, with this fake, it was basically the Antichrist. So with that comes a connection to deeper things. So you have the Jesuits, the Freemasons, you have the Pizzagate scandals. An example is, and you're asking, what does this have to do with one another? But it does. For example, Justin Bieber posted on Instagram a bunch of pictures of babies. I feel like that part in the Matrix where they try to like capture your tongue so you don't talk. So anyway, he posts a bunch of pictures of the babies, and he puts hashtag yummy for his new video, and a lot of people are asking why. And so I'm starting to get the feeling or idea that basically they're trying to speak out and tell us what's up, but they can't. And because of that, it is up to us to kind of share the information, because obviously they can't. So anyway, with that said, if you want to check it out, you can go look at all the babies on his Instagram and then read the comments so that you can better understand what's going on. And this is something that goes across celebrities and the entertainment industry, because the entertainment industry is owned by basically the same people that we're talking about here. So let's talk about the fake news and that commercial about Alexa, right? How true is it? Let's see. There's a lot of fake news going on. Yes, that's true. It's added up. You can add up the amount of fakeness there is. And now while there's fakeness to it, there's also some truth to it, because you have to have some truth in it in order to manipulate better. You can fake something much easier if you're still incorporating some type of truth to it. So with that said, there's been a lot of fake news going around and people fear it. So this is basically a lot of fear tactics, a lot of strategies of fear, by basically saying the same thing over and over and over and manipulating subconsciously people.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities, the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about trouble and irresponsible, one-sided news stories
plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Let's just talk symbolism, all right? So the Masonic symbolism is everywhere, and we tend to ignore them when we fear them and don't understand them, right? But in researching, you find that while there's many awful and many ugly things about it, there's also many more amazing things. So here's the point where you have to use your discernment and your intuition to guide you through all these things that you hear, because they can get really ugly. But there's also, like, there's the exoteric and then there's the esoteric. There's always the outer shell and the inner. There's always a different interpretation depending on what you're looking at. So symbology has been used to try to tell us something without telling us something. So things are said subliminally, and it's up to us to understand it. And many just don't catch it. So let's just talk about the whole Alexa commercial. Truthers are looked at as, oh, they're spreading fake news. But what would be the intention of that? You know, like, what are they trying to hide? Instead, they're trying to uncover the fakeness and the lies, the deceptions that we've been told and programmed with. So there's things that are just way beyond comprehension, and when you first hear it and you first go into the rabbit hole, it can get really nasty, right? And you're going, why would someone put their everything out there to the masses and be ridiculed and be looked at as this crazy person who doesn't know what they're talking about, unless they were sure and certain and knew what they were talking about. So think about who's making who look crazy. So there's a lot in one night, guys. Like, how true is that commercial? Like, what are your thoughts, honestly? Mine? Here's where it gets ugly. All right, hold on. I'm about to get unfriended. All right, so it works on both sides, right? I've looked at this for years. I've been researching everything that's been said. So I'm at a point now where all that research has, it's a touchy subject, okay? And many are gonna just blow this off like it's BS when all of that is pretty much real. And it's in your face. It's in our faces, guys. It's in our face, and we don't see it because we've been conditioned not to see it. It's the excessive cognitive dissonance that we all have, and that it takes a really long time. It's taken me 4 years. And the rabbit hole that we can get into can just, it can change your life. But the point here that I'm trying to make is that balance. You know, there's the good, the bad, the ugly, the wholeness of it all, right? The yin and the yang. And the key is to be aware and to stay in balance. Like, I'm aware of so much that's going on in this world. But how does it affect me on a daily, you know? We can't change others if we can't change ourselves. And there's a lot that each of us have to change before the world changes. For now, it's gonna just not be pretty. If we can't change the world, then we can only change ourselves, right? One person at a time.